Buddy JC here with another TNI toy review, and for today's review we're going to take a look at the new DC Collectibles DC Comics Designer Series Greg Capullo Thrasher Suit Batman Deluxe figure. Now this figure is done in the 7-inch scale, but it's a deluxe figure, so it's much bigger than your normal 7-inch scale DC Collectibles figure. It comes in the same kind of style of packaging we've seen with all the other figures in this Greg Capullo Designer Series. The window box packaging with the white borders. You've got the Designer Series logo down below with Greg Capullo's name. Off to the side you have the name of the figure, and it tells us that this is the 8th figure in the series. Off to the one side we have some artwork for Greg Capullo showing the Thrasher suit Batman. And then on the back we have a look at the 4 figures released in the second wave of this line. Red Hood, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and Thrasher suit Batman. And then it tells us that the figure was sculpted by Jay Kushwara and Jonathan Matthews. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. And I think DC Collectibles has done a really nice job with giving us a detailed looking, articulated suit of armor for this Batman figure. Now it is a deluxe figure, so as I said, it's bigger than your normal 7-inch scale figure, and it also costs more than the regular figures. It's going to cost you probably in the neighborhood of between $40 and $50. The figure itself has a fair amount of articulation, and then just the detail and the paint washes on the figure are really nice. They've used a metallic type color throughout with some darker metallic colors and some washes, and so you really look like it really looks like you're looking at a metal suit of armor here. So I think they've just done a really nice job with that. I like on the helmet, I like the eyes, I like the red metallic paint on the helmet, and if you look closely you can see like little rivets for, you know, where he's like put together the suit, and actually throughout the armor you can see that, and there's like little dents and nicks on the armor. So, you know, again, just nice detailing overall with the overall look of this figure. Then on the back he's got some weird looking, almost looks like some, you know, bat shaped symbols on the back, and he's got this piece that comes down his back, which is nice. And then he's got the bat utility belt, which is kind of funny. I think it's supposed to be like a power belt that powers the armor. In fact, the only fault with the look of the figure is I do think in this area where the little holes on the belt, these should have been painted in red. I remember them being red, like red lights there, but on this it's just yellow. But other than that, I just think it's really nice detail and some nice wash on the yellow on the belt and everything. So that's nice. And he's got these like pods and stuff sculpted. I don't know if these are like batteries or something, but just really nice detail. And he's got the bat symbol sculpted on the front, and it's in black. And he's got these claws on the side. Now it would have been kind of cool if these claws could like extend forward a little bit, so that they could extend out past the hands more than they do. You can close the fingers are articulated, but the claws don't really come out much past the hands. So it would have been kind of cool if you could maybe have if these had a little, they're basically separate pieces that are glued onto the figure. And it would have been kind of cool if maybe they had added some articulation there so that you could kind of push them forward. He's also got like the little, I don't know what you call these, but the little hooks that you always see on Batman's gloves. So it's got those sculpted on there, so that's cool. The figure doesn't come with any accessories per se, but he does have a removable helmet, so you can take that off, and it's just, you know, hollow inside. And then it reveals a Bruce Wayne head sculpt, which has some, it's just on a ball joint, has some articulation. Now I will say I'm not too fond of this head sculpt. To me it doesn't really look like Bruce Wayne. I also don't really like the skin tone, that, you know, the paint they've used for the skin tone. He looks a little too pale. So I'm not a huge fan of the sculpt, but I do like the fact that they made the helmet removable and and gave us a head underneath that. And one thing to note, if you were so inclined, you can actually pop the head off. It's just on a ball joint. And if you wanted to switch out heads with, say, your Greg Capullo Batman figure from the first wave and have a maskless Bruce Wayne or Batman figure, you could actually do that. The heads are interchangeable, so just something to note. So the figure stands at just about 9.5 inches tall. Here he is next to the Greg Capullo Batman figure for comparison, so you can see he's much taller than the regular Batman. And just for one more comparison, here he is next to the armored Lex Luthor figure from DC Collectibles that was released a few months ago. And they're close to about the same size. Batman's a little bit taller than Lex, but you know, pretty good size comparison. If you want Batman to be able to take on Lex in his armor, you know, this is a cool figure to have. And then just as one more comparison, for fun, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Hulkbuster Iron Man figure. And again, you can see the Batman figure is just a little bit taller than that Hulkbuster figure. This was a Toy Biz figure released several years ago, back in 2005. Okay, so articulation on this figure is actually really good, especially for a big figure and especially for a DC Collectibles one. The joints overall are pretty sturdy. I haven't had any real problems with them. However, they are a little bit on the tight side. So it's always a good idea with these DC collectible figures to take a blow dryer to them and loosen up the joints before you start trying to pose them. But again, I haven't had any significant issues with the joints on this figure, which is a good thing. Now the head with the helmet on technically isn't articulated, but if you want to just kind of turn the head to the left and right, you can. The more you turn it, the looser the helmet will fit on the body of the figure. But you know, like I said, if you want to just turn it a little bit, you can. And then the helmet's removable, of course, and the head underneath has some articulation. It's on a ball joint, so he can look left and right with no problem. And he has a little bit of up and down movement there, which is good. The arms are attached at the shoulder with your standard ball hinge joint. He can get his arms out pretty good, and he's got good rotation there at the shoulder. The elbows are on hinge joints as well, single hinge joints, so he can bend his elbow about that much. You can also rotate there at the elbow. The wrists are, you can turn a little bit and have a little bit of up and down movement. Those guards, those claw guards on the side, do limit somewhat how much you can turn the hands though. And then the fingers on this figure are really nice as well. The fingers have multiple points of articulation, which is something you very rarely ever see on a DC Collectibles figure, and really don't see much on minifigures these days, even Marvel Legends. So it's really nice. It has like 3 points of articulation on the fingers and the thumb, so you can actually do multiple poses with the finger. You can do the old give the bad guy the middle finger, and what I really like is you can actually fold the fingers all up and make a fist with these. You know, that Ironmonger figure I showed you has some articulated fingers, but you can't actually close the fingers up and make a fist on that one. So the figure has a diaphragm joint. He has rotation there at the upper chest, and he has some up and down movement there at the chest as well, which is good. He also has a waist swivel, so you get basically multiple points of rotation there at the midsection, which is nice. The legs are on ball hinge joints, so he can get his leg forward about that much, and then he can get his leg out about that much. Now, one thing I do want to notate is the hinges on the legs here were basically painted black, and as you move the figure around, it has scraped some of the black paint off. Now, it actually doesn't look that bad because it's kind of supposed to look like worn metal here anyway, so it actually just kind of adds to that effect more than anything. But I did want to notate that. And he also has rotation there at the crotch with the legs. The knees are single hinged knees, but he can bend his knee pretty good there. Also has rotation there at the knee. And then the ankles, he has some up and down movement and a little bit of left to right movement there. Not a whole lot, but has some up and down and left to right movement there. The ankles, they kind of rotate left and right, but with the way the armor pieces are sculpted, he just does not get a whole lot of rotation there at the feet. And then he does not have any peg holes on the bottom of his feet. But you can see they've done some nice work with the treads sculpted on the bottom of the feet. So that's my review. Overall, I think this is a really nice looking figure with some nice articulation. It is a more expensive figure than your regular DC Collectibles figures, but you are getting a nice figure for your money with this one. So if you're a fan of the Greg Capullo series or you just want a Batman figure in a really cool suit of armor, then I think this is one you'll definitely want to pick up. This figure is hitting comic and specialty stores now, so if you want to add it to your collection, start checking your favorite comic book shop. And that's my review. Until next time, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.